Stabby, what have you done?
Yes, sorry.
This is 35 minutes long.
Well, God, you're like one of these fuckers who complains about the length of the podcast. It's too long, I can't cope.
Oh, I
Anyway,
hope if people watch it on their phone, they've got a lot of battery.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, anyway, this will keep people entertained on their bus. By the time you've got on your bus, wherever you're going, if as long as it's half an hour long. So anyway, to my mother, brothers, and sisters with whom I survived the monster in my father, this is Papo and Yo, my game of the year, I think, in
It was, yeah.
2012.
I was about to say it was our first game of the year, I think.
Yep, and it was when I knew that we were going to be doing these videos. It was the first video I thought about doing because I don't think it I don't think it gets the credit and recognition that say games like Journey get, which sort of all this emotional, this emotional game. It's like, oh my god, it's lauded. And Journey's great. Don't get me wrong, but this is you're breaking the mood.
Sorry.
All this is kind of based on a true story. The guy who created the game or helped to create the game, Van de Caballero, this is all kind of based around his childhood, which is kind of cool in itself if you think that his childhood helped to inspire to make this game. So what essentially is a 3D puzzle platformer with sort of elements of, like, say, Inception and stuff like that. I think it's running in Unity. I'm not sure. Anyway. Yes, but it does chug. It does chug a little bit, I have to say. I'm playing it on the PC. I did originally play it on the.
Programming though, isn't it?
This is the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, I mean it's only a smallish team, so I'm not. You know what I mean? It was a budget game at the time. I think it was like 12 quid on the PlayStation. So it's PS3. I got it on, and I can't remember who told me about it at the time, but I think I've played it in a few sittings. I like a couple of sittings. So here we go, Adam. Look at this. This is fucking awesome. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like. Before these puzzly games became quite popular, this kind of, I think, it did things that you hadn't really done before.
Like you're running around an Uncharted level, isn't it?
I love the set. I love the setting, the sort of, because it's set in the sort of like the favelas where he grew up, and this little girl here. I'm not going to spoil who this character is, but I like this little touch here. You pick up the box, little Metal Gear Solid type thing. I'm a hint box, and you look around, and it gives you little hints and stuff like that. But it's cool, and I know that Ben, you really love this game as well, didn't you?
Fantastic game. Yeah, I'd love to play this again, I think.
And I think that's why, well, the sort of video is 30 odd minutes long, but at the time, you said sort of anything up to half an hour, and I did kind of get a little bit lost in the game, if I'm honest with you, because it's just, as I was going into it, I'm thinking I should stop here, but I wanted to carry on playing because it's been 5 years since I played it. I mean, my daughter turned 5 on Sunday, so I sort of had it around that time. So I would like to play it on PC again. It's I don't think there's major differences, between this and the PS3. I can't remember, but yeah, I thought mainly to show it off to other people, but also you, Adam, because it's a shame unless you get a PC or a PS3, you're not going to get the opportunity to play this. I'm not sure why it was an exclusive on the PlayStation.
Weird. It just seemed one of those games that would have had a remaster or a re-release on PS4. It just felt like it should have been one of those ones, but never did.
But I mean, look, doing all this kind of stuff, and the stuff that you get to do later on, like, because I've completed it, but because it's been such a long time, there's a bit, which I'll come to, and I was like, oh shit, that is so fucking cool, and I couldn't remember doing it the first time around. So, like, the jumping and stuff like that, the platforming, it's not great. Do you know what I mean? But then I think it's kind of, it doesn't really matter because the game is so kind of compelling and interesting.
I loved just how well designed the levels were.
Yeah.
Like the actual puzzles and things all made sense in this weird sort of, even just now looking at it now, it's kind of bringing back a lot of the ideas. It's a lot of backtrack on yourself for some of them, but
there's a lot of a bit later on in the game, some crazy puzzles with big tall bits going on, like the world shifting around and stuff.
Yeah, it's sort of like
you move the world, don't you?
Yeah. That's right. You sort of, like you're pulling these switches. Yeah, here we go. I
lick the frog.
I grab a froggy, and he's running away, little bastard, or hopping away. I catch him and you give him a cuddle. Look at that. Oh. See, the frogs don't really serve any purpose at this point, so they're just there. She's talking to me, and I
Is there
like
symbolism for the frog.
well, the frogs come into it later on. Is it the frogs that you? Anyway, don't want to spoil it for
I can't remember now.
Adam.
But yeah, the reason it was only on PS3 is because it was part of Sony's Publisher Fund scheme.
Okay.
Yeah, they basically funded this game and got it published. So it was a very early kind of indie game, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
We should chat quite closely with one of the people from the company. Do you remember?
That's right. Yeah, and I don't think that they ever went on to do anything else. I mean,
There's quite a few other games.
Have they? Oh, okay. Yeah. What did they do? Do you know?
I was just looking at it. Where am I? Minority Media. That's the name of the company.
That's right. That's them. Yeah. But because I'm sure one of them left. I think the woman we used to chat to on Twitter and stuff.
A game called Cali, which is they're doing VR stuff. It seems like Cali is on the Gear VR.
Okay.
And they've also got a Time Machine VR, which looks nuts actually.
All right.
It's on PSVR as well and PS4.
So, yeah, I mean, as you can see, you're following this little girl around. I think I even remember you describing it back in the day, Ben, when we did the podcast about sort of like you're almost like playing Kiss Chase a little bit. You know, you're trying to catch her. So here you go. All these little things, they're still the way that you interact with them. I think's really interesting. I don't know what you think, Adam. Obviously, you've never played it before. Like, what's your thoughts?
That's brilliant.
Is it something that you'd like to play, like Adam? Adam?
Have we lost Adam?
That was brilliant.
Oh, sorry, so no, I'm here. I've just been sneezing on mute.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah. What did you say?
No, is this something that you'd like find interesting? Would you like to play?
Oh, yeah. This would have been right up my alley at the time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, as you go on, and I think this is the reason why, because like I said, I kind of like, you know, I was kind of struck by the way it looked and everything. Although you could argue it looks a bit samey, but it does throw stuff at you quite quickly, and it keeps things interesting. You know, you don't tend to get bored, because I mean, look at this is a puzzle, right? And this was one of the things that kind of, I'm picking up these boxes and I don't know why I'm doing it at the minute, because like I haven't tilted the camera up. Obviously I'm trying to fix them in place, but I'm not sure why. I mean, then I'll start to realise,
really cool.
Holy shit.
Clever.
Do you know what I mean? And then I'm starting to realise, oh, okay, right, so that's why I need these boxes, and that's why those squares are there. You pop them down and off you go. But it's cool looking at them in the background, you know. And there's all these sort of like little puzzles that, you know, keep you going. But then, on top of that, this really clever and interesting, engaging kind of gameplay, there's a really emotional story behind it all, which I think, I mean, for see there, I just kind of jiggle it around because I'm like, oh my god, you know, for Ben and I think kind of it really touched a nerve, you know what I mean? And you know, I remember getting quite emotional talking about this game.
And I think that's the difference between this and say, oh, I love Journey, you know how much I love Journey, but there's more of a game to this than there is in Journey.
Yeah, Journey's just kind of push forward and cry, isn't it? have a pity wank kind of thing, you know, and cry while you're doing it. But yeah.
Big key.
What do you do with a key? Oh, stutters a little bit here. Oh.
It's such a shame.
How many frames a second is that?
Yeah, it is a bit of a... It runs pretty well for the most part, but then there's... You know, it's not the most polished game in the world. There you go. See, I don't know how much you know about the story. Obviously, you get a little kind of hint at what it's about, you know, because you see...
I think I know a fair bit.
Yeah, you see him hiding in like, you know, in a closet at the beginning, and this to me, I mean, I you know, I mean, this is another cool little thing. I just watch this before I get to my point. Sprouts little legs, you know. Yeah, if you'd have missed the sort of like the little quote at the start, you might obviously be a little bit lost about what's going on. But to me, this is all kind of in his imagination. You know, he's hiding in his closet from his alcoholic, abusive dad, and he's disappearing into like a dream world kind of thing, you know. But
sound is special, isn't it? Well,
oh, the music's amazing. I remember, you know, this is going to sound really sad. In my more maudlin moments when I've had a little drink and I used to listen to the soundtrack, it has been known to bring me to tears, I have to say. When I'm contemplating life and things like that, getting old and whatever, you know, everything else, and I stick the soundtrack on. So there you go. Gives you little hints, the little boxes. It's such a cool game, you know. And if anybody, you know, people haven't played it and they watch this video, you know, because they're subscribed to the channel and think, oh, it's all about it. They've got a PC or PlayStation 3, then please do get it, because I'm sure you won't be disappointed. And I think I seem to remember that the reviews at the time were really sniffy about it. I think Eurogamer like slagged it off, gave it 6 out of 10.
But it was all down to performance more than anything else, which is
yeah.
They didn't have the sort of budget that a lot of these other companies have. And, but this is just it's a brilliant game.
Funny, around that time, like indie games weren't really sort of a massive thing, were they?
No.
So like today, they get a bit more of a free pass.
I think this would. I mean, if this came out now,
I think even a year later, it would have done better.
It would have. I still think, like, you know, if it come out now, people would think, oh my god, you know, because it's like indie games now. They're, you know, really kind of important to the industry and just, you know, games in general. They've become more of a thing, haven't they?
The problem is indie games now have become fucking side-scrolling platforms.
Yeah, it's almost like indie games themselves have become a. Heck, I don't know. It's hard to explain. They've become a thing in themselves, haven't they? It's like I'm trying my best to explain it. I don't know. It's like they're not indie games, are they? Or they're designed to be indie games, even if they're not necessarily indie games. I don't know. Ditch, you obviously know more, you know, kind of because you work.
EA pretending to do indie games.
Yeah, it's all like Unravel. That's not a fucking indie game. Looking at that, do you know what I mean? Although it's both, you know, I suppose sold as an indie game.
But there are very few indie games now, aren't there? Very few small companies bringing out a game like this.
No, there is every week pretty much on PC.
Yeah, but on PC there is. To the masses as such, you know what I mean? It's not really.
They don't sell. I think that's the problem. I think you've probably seen that, like Sony they didn't bother really even doing like an indie thing at E3. Where normally they're like, here's our developers up on the stage, and you get to see these little random people. Like, I don't think there's much money in it, unfortunately.
Is there just too many of them now?
And there's too many of them, and I just think people don't buy them. Like, you still get the, you know, it's PS Plus, and you get 3 really good indie games, but you'll just get people going, oh, it's fucking shit.
But to me, the ones that come out like Rain, like shit compared to this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't get on with that at all. I thought it was alright. I finished it, but I just thought you know, it's trying to be this, but it's not, because it didn't have the emotional story attached to it.
What's that?
Rain.
Oh, right.
That was where you're a little boy and you're hiding in the puddles and, you know, people chasing you. I'll get a little bit stuck here. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing.
Fucking hate people. Sorry.
That's alright. We've got plenty of time to go.
At the time, was this? Do you reckon why people sort of misunderstood it and reviewed it badly? Because it was almost like the production values for the time for an indie game. This is ridiculous, isn't it? Really, compared to everything else. So, yeah, they just reviewed it with the wrong mindset for some reason. Because
I don't remember there being bad reviews. I don't know where.
Well, shall we have a look?
I think it either got really
Go on
good
then.
scores,
You
or
do.
it got really sneaky.
We've got Papo and Yo here. I've got Metacritic up. It's got the Metascore of 72. Not bad. User score of 8. Official PlayStation Magazine gave it a 90%. Destructoid gave it 85. Chico Central 84, and then we're down to the 70s. Game TM gave it 34. It was IGN, they're the ones that are the sticklers.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, it was
40%.
40.
Yep.
Tis.
A bunch of pricks. The on-paper premise of a traumatic childhood brought to life as a playable short story is brilliant. The wounded execution can't quite sell the emotional expression. Papo and Yo bookends a technically disastrous and wholly uninteresting adventure, with brief moments of emotional resonance.
No, I didn't agree with that. I have to say,
No.
but you know, everyone to their own. I guess it's. I
Well,
think
no,
that's,
that's wrong, aren't they? Those cunts.
40% is pretty low.
it's pretty. I mean, that's.
If you just looked at this, you couldn't give it 40%.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, even if you gave it say a six out of 10.
Oh, and the wanky bastards over at Edge magazine. Should a game about surviving an alcoholic, abusive parent be fun? Probably not.
Here we go.
Nothing from being a weary and frustrating.
So these bits now, this is me actually playing this, but it's all sort of like slow motion, and it becomes more apparent as the story goes on what all this is about and what's going on.
If this was 120 frames a second, it wouldn't have the feeling.
No, this is true. But yeah, it's the way it's done, you know. It's sort of you know, it's sort of like it's all these, you know, the gameplay. It's kind of like punctuated with little moments like that, and then you're never sure who she is, and as it goes on, and
It's weird. It's got 31 views. This video, hasn't it?
that's because I've watched it quite a bit. Because it was the first video. Well, I didn't watch all of it, but I think it's because it was the first video I ever like kind of recorded. Oh, here you go. Here's another little gameplay element. It's kind. I mean, I'm not saying it's like Mario, but you know, Mario chucks in new little things to keep you entertained and keep you, intrigued. But this game does it as well, you know. Anyway, yeah, because this was the first game I ever recorded when I knew we were going to be doing videos. I wanted to make sure it looked okay and it worked okay. Here you go. So it's starting to explain a little bit more now, although you're not sure why. You get introduced to the monster, who is a metaphor for your dad, because you need him, and even though he hurts you, you need him to get to places that you can't get to, which, when you put it like that, is kind of, I suppose, it's a pretty hefty metaphor for this guy's life, but it's still quite emotionally affecting. I mean, look at all this. You know what I mean? It's all that. I love all that. I don't know what happened there. I think the game crashed on me.
Yeah.
It didn't crash. It just kind of
It stopped.
I had to do the Alt Tab to get back to it.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Windows go. Oh no, it's PlayStation. No.
Yeah.
Wait, did
Anyway.
you play this on PC or?
PC, yeah.
Ah.
I think it was just something that popped up on my screen. It just defaulted to it. Anyway, so this is your little robot character, and this is where you get your double jump. Whee! Which I fuck up.
You got a bit implied with that, haven't you?
Yeah, but you can see, I think, because he's lost his shoe and he's losing his clothes slowly. I think, say, game chugs a little bit now, but there you go. And I think that's kind of, as the story goes, I'll get a little achievement there, because I've not actually played this on PC, like, say, up until this point.
Calm down.
I know.
To see this again after, because I've actually literally have not seen this since we played it 5 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think this made me want to play it more. I think
It still looks good.
yeah.
Graphics looks fine.
Yeah, I think because it's got its own kind of like, I know you could argue it's a little bit brown because it's like kind of all the streets and villages or towns all
Yeah,
look
but
a
it
bit.
changes later, doesn't it?
Yeah, and but it is a little mechanic that you get. You can send Lula to switches, and he will do things for you and stuff.
Oof. Papo's dated visuals don't live up to its interesting art and story.
Oh, Who said
Those
that?
aren't puzzles, they're chores. There's no reason to do them.
Who said that?
Who said that?
IGN.
Ooh, they're wankers.
They really are.
But a puzzle
Twats.
is a puzzle. It's like, what the fuck?
Thing is, I always associated IGN with the sort of like, the Call of Duty kid crowd. Do you know what I mean? I never. This isn't a game for IGN. Do you know what I mean? And that makes me sound like a right snob, but it's true.
Spell IGN without cunt.
Well, that's what's weird about the Edge review, because this is a game you'd think Edge would like.
Yeah, that one does confuse me, but Edge did go through it. Well, they're very wanky all the time, really.
Yeah, I would like to replay. I mean, you've got this idea, Ben, of sort of like going back to the games that we picked in our, and this was obviously one of them. So it'd be nice because I do like, you know, the last game we did as a feature, I guess, was LA Noire, and as much as a fucking chore that game was, I'm glad. Look at this. I mean, I'm glad that I went back and played it because at least I can say I've done it.
You want LA Noire VR?
Oh no, I'm not sure about
No.
that. I just don't.
Now that I've played it. No.
I just don't.
Horrifying faces right in front of you.
It's scary than Resident Evil.
Even on the Switch, I wouldn't want that. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, I don't know what. No, Red Dead.
Oh yeah. They could. The thing is, they could do that, couldn't they?
They're just bastards.
Yeah. So here we go.
Ooh, no.
So again, you haven't even really. We've got like 12 minutes left, but you haven't been introduced to his dad yet.
No.
And that's sort of something else. And because I could, you know, you could stop this game after 15 minutes, but it doesn't really give you a good idea of what is going to happen. And plus, I did get a bit carried away. I'm not really going to apologise.
Really,
You're having fun. You're having fun.
You wouldn't even have to have a story with this game, would you? To be honest. You can just have puzzle games, can't you? Just
Yeah.
And the puzzles in this are generally quite good. I know there's a lot of pushing and pulling and, you know, everything.
I think Braid was out about the same time, wasn't
Yeah, I never got on with that. I did play it, but I never. I don't know. I found it really.
They have like existential crises playing Braid.
Then we had sort of Unfinished Swan, things like that, didn't we?
I like that. Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah.
Oh, but but you never played that, did you, Adam?
Yeah, I got it on PS4 when it came out.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I did like that. Spraying your spunk all over the world.
Yeah.
I think because that's probably my trio of really good indie games. It was like Journey, Unfinished Swan, and this. But I think this would probably be my favourite.
What did they do? The makers of Unfinished Swan. They bought a game out recently, didn't they?
Is that
What Remains of Edith Finch?
You like that, didn't you?
Yeah, it's good. Really good.
Oh, what sort of game is that then?
It's a walk 'em up first person narration type game.
Oh, well, like the Ethan one. Thing.
Yeah, it's a lot more creative than like
Okay.
Ethan Carter and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, look at all this. I know it's simple enough, but it kind of. I'm not saying they're up to this. It's not up to the standard of like say Portal, where those puzzles you scratch your head and then you actually feel like a genius because you figured them out. But they are enough to keep you entertained and sort of make you think a little bit. Here you go. This is where you get introduced to your dad, or the monster. All this kind of stuff.
The game since like Brothers, is a similar type.
Oh yeah. Love that. Yeah. In fact, like you said, I think that's probably one of my favourite indie games.
Yeah, that's like EA have kind of bought them now and said now it's not really an indie game anymore. Is it?
No. What was it called?
Amazing.
What was it called? A Way Out, was it?
Way Out, yeah.
Yeah, that's not an indie game, is it? What? Here you go.
But mind you, if they get
So
the
he's-
funding to make interesting games, I'm not bothered, to be honest.
No, that's great.
Will they? Yeah.
True. He's going off to his little den. So yeah, it's a shame that it didn't come out obviously on other formats and stuff like that, but because it didn't come out on PC originally either, did it? I think
that was a bit late. Yeah.
wasn't a dual release. So. There you go, there's a little puzzle coming up.
Where's he gone?
Having a poo.
Yeah, see. There we go. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a simple enough.
No, you need to look at the outsides of the shape as well. Can't really know.
Well, you get to see in a second.
I did finish this.
Yeah.
The ending's pretty good.
Yeah, again, I have vague memories of the ending, I have to say, but Just think the whole experience, you know, it's kind
I
of.
just remember there's a lot in between I've sort of forgotten, but I definitely remember the last bit of that game.
You're kind of on a bridge kind of thing, aren't you? Moving along.
Keep climbing up,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
and that is fantastic. That bit. It's funny how certain parts of games totally stick with you.
Because I think there are things you can collect in this. I don't think they add much value particularly, but I'm sure there are things you can pick up little
Jump. Do a flip.
little hidden things. Yeah, because I kind of wanted to carry on because I thought, well, you've just seen your dad, but I keep saying your dad. Oh, no. And that's the other thing as well. Is there's no penalty for dying as such. It just kind of kicks you back in.
It's
It's
kind of
actually
helped
really
you
nice.
there.
There's no signpost as well, is there?
Yeah, because I got a bit lost, so I'm not sure where I was going. So it kind of thought, hang on, dumbass, you need to go back to where you're supposed to go. Bloop, 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 bloop. There we go.
Oh yeah. Got a
There
lever.
we go.
Yeah. What the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Because it's not really. Oh, there you go. And I spot the box that I'm supposed to be picking up. Little help box thing.
Something missing?
Yeah, need a box to get on top of it.
So it's really weird. I don't remember any of those box bits. You know, the one with the question marks. Don't remember that on the PS.
Don't you? No. It's funny how I kind of forgotten, you know, even though I obviously, you know, really enjoyed the game. I'm not as bad as Adam with his trials, but yeah, a lot of it does kind of like think, oh shit, yeah, I've forgotten all about that. So now I've got the extra box, but why do you need the cage? Oh,
What's the guy's gonna do? She's still in the box.
pinched it, little cow.
Catch her in the cage.
There you go.
You can get this. You can get this.
Yeah. Here we go. Gotcha. So now, I mean, I assume that this is on sale at the moment. On
$7.50,
oh, is it? Yeah. I mean, it was never that expensive anyway, was it? But
I think it was $6.99, wasn't it? I think.
oh, was it?
Yeah. Seems to ring a bell.
I mean, this was in a time as well when sort of like 5 years ago, which sounds fucking makes me feel really old. Same, like, you know what I mean? But anyway, the games of this sort of like nature, this, you know, sort of like, I would, you know, kind of what would you call them? AA at best kind of games, I guess, would still be like £7 or £8 instead of the sort of 15, 20 that they are now.
Yeah, they all kind of went up now at that point.
Yeah, it was. Or you could see the changes in when Microsoft points sort of like were like 400 for a game, then 800, then 1200, 1600. Does anybody miss Microsoft points? Or... No. I always found them really confusing. I remember downloading an app on my iPhone for
A conversion.
a converter. Yeah. So
There he is.
yeah, I say coming to the end of the video. So
That basically said.
yeah, most of the time he's harmless, and you don't get to see him sort of like have a rage moment in this, but he sort of like you coax him to do things.
Stick a box on
So it's
there.
basically the Last Guardian.
That's what, yeah, exactly, Adam. It's sort of like, you know, it's a very early Last Guardian game.
There was a Namco game, wasn't there, where you had like a giant and a character, and it was a bit shit though.
Do you know what though?
Oh
This-
shit, that was, yeah. What's
not
that
think-
called?
do you not think this looks better though than Last Guardian?
Ooh, I don't know about that.
I'm not
No.
sure. I think stylistically it's obviously has had a lot more polish, but then, you know, this didn't take fucking
It's a better
10
game.
years to make. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I know, Adam, you probably think differently, but
It worked for me, so.
yeah. So here you go. This is kind of, I think, some of the music.
Like the things that calmed him down.
I can't remember if it's the frogs that got. Yeah, because these little coconuts or whatever they are.
Mad.
No, he eats those.
That makes him go mad, doesn't it? Like, really,
I think it's the frogs that make you go mad.
I think it was the frogs, yeah.
So these things, because he's too lazy to get up and get his own food, if you
yeah, so true.
you take them to him, and there he goes. Nom nom nom. Yeah, I think this is where the music starts to change as well, and it starts to, I don't know, you know, it sort of starts to get to you a little bit. I think anyway. Get up, you lazy fucker. But I do. I mean, like even the animation and stuff like that, I think still looks really nice.
Yeah.
There he goes. But yeah, as I say, he's harmless to you for most of the. See, I know that I know I'm comparing this to The Last Guardian, but you know what I mean. It's like there's none of that in The Last Guardian, is it? Which I think I found quite frustrating. There's no. I suppose you either love it or hate it. The fact that there's a lack of signposting, you know what I mean. Whereas that is quite clear what you need to do.
I think The Last Guardian was literally just camera control was a complete ball lake. Whereas this, it seems to be more the views a bit further out. You sort of see more that's going on around the characters.
Yeah, see him there, you know what I mean. He's kind of like putting his finger to his mouth, saying, "Oh, that's what I want, something to eat." There you go. He sends your little dude off. Whee! Yeah, like you said, Ben. Even like now, I sort of like, you know, I want to play it.
Definitely, I'll have to pick this up again, I think.
You know what I mean? So, like I said, we've got just under 2 minutes left. So, but I hope. And as I say, I know it's been a long one, but it didn't feel like I've sat and watched this for 30 odd minutes, I have to say. I don't know about you guys, but I do want to play it again at some point, because it would be interesting to go back to it and see if it still has that kind of effect on me that it did then. And it's still a fun game to play, you know, and it's still like the gameplay, the mechanics and everything. It's not the most polished game in the world, the jump-ins. It's you know, serviceable, do you know what I mean? It works. That's it's not. It doesn't feel like you're fucking Super Mario or whatever, but do you know what I mean? It doesn't need to. But all the double jumping works well, and he's tired now, the lazy fucker.
There's too much going right, too much good for it. You can ignore the flaws in it, I think.
Oh yeah, totally. So that's it. And then because he's gone to sleep, you can bounce on his belly to get to the next bit.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I like this. Just before it finishes, I know you've done it a little bit already, but sort of the way that it opens up the next section to get to him. Just pressing this little cog. There we go.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah. Anyway, Papo and Yo, get it. It's a really, really interesting game. Really good. You know, make you think. And it you know, it's didn't deserve the shit that IGN gave it. Put it like that. And
No.
that's it. I give up at this point because I thought 33 minutes. It's going to shout at me.
Thank you very much.
That's all.